Good evening and welcome to your Tuesday, May 20, 2025 edition of the Evening News. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for joining us. Let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. U.S. ready to support GDF in addressing Venezuelan gangs along Guyana's borders, says Ambassador. Be vigilant, Army Chief urges TOSHAOS ahead of fictitious May 25 Venezuelan election. Government mulls investing in commercial arm of GDF to keep domestic airfare reasonable, says VP. Election fraud trial continues. Parag takes the stand, describes chaos, irregularities in vote tabulation, and MECODEX 2025 launches in Guyana to boost regional disaster preparedness. Now for the news in detail. The United States is prepared to support the Guyana Defense Force in its efforts to combat the growing threat posed by foreign gangs along the Cayuny River, a key stretch of the border between Guyana and Venezuela. This assurance was delivered by U.S. Ambassador to Guyana, Nicole Thireau, during the Private Sector Commission's 33rd Annual General Meeting on Tuesday. Here's a look at what she had to say.
No amount of bluster or saber rattling changes the fact that the United States will always stand shoulder to shoulder with Guyana in support of its sovereignty and territorial integrity. Venezuela, of course, has also been in the news recently due to the Sindicatos' acts of aggression against the GDF patrolling the Cayuny. These are criminals engaging in criminal activity, and the United States stands ready to support the GDF in its effort to eradicate this activity along Guyana's frontier and to ensure the safety and security of Guyana's people. We fully support the ICJ's provisional measures for Venezuela to halt its so-called elections in the Essequibo on May 25th, and we're extremely unhappy that they made that ill-advised decision to go ahead and move forward. You will be seeing a very strongly worded tweet coming out of the State Department very soon on that issue, and it will make extremely clear to you where the U.S. stands.
Chief of Defense Staff Brigadier Omar Khan has urged TOSHAOS and residents of communities that share a border with Venezuela to be vigilant and help serve as the Army's eyes and ears. On the ground ahead of the fictitious elections, Venezuela has claimed it will hold for a governor for Guyana's Essequibo territory on May 25. The Army Chief was at the time addressing indigenous leaders during the National TOSHAOS Council conference today. Here's what he had to say.
I am on record to say, as we prepare for 26th of May, our 59th independence anniversary, there's a day just before that, the 25th. The Venezuelan authorities are holding an election to appoint a governor, the fictitious land. I want you to be vigilant. I want you to tell us to turn right, to turn left, what kind of decision that we should make. I'm already having information of what's going on in the Venemo River. People are taking videos of what's happening on the other side and send it to me, send it to the commissioner. We want to know when to turn left and when to turn right. And we need your support. And not because we need it, but because you also need that. Because you want us to make the best possible decisions. Don't let us keep opening doors. We want to ask you until we find what we're looking for. The end state, he wants everybody to have a better or improved quality of life, regardless of all the benefits we get, is to improve our quality of life. But from that, what do we do to get there? And if you look at the left, the larger the circle, it's a combination of things. And sovereignty, territorial integrity is a key part of that. We have to ensure that we protect what we have so we can get what we need. Give us the information. Tell us what's happening. And all of us will go back to that ecosystem and realize how lovely we are as a people, and our destination is one of prosperity and peace. We are beautiful people. Thank you.
On day 2 of the National TOSHAOS Council Annual Conference, Vice President Dr. Parag laid out all the initiatives the government has in store for their hinterland communities, including home upgrade subsidies for residents of those villages. More in this Kelroy Williams report.
Vice President Dr. Parag addressed Day 2 of the National TOSHAOS Council NTC Annual Conference on Tuesday, where he announced that a home upgrade subsidy will be rolled out in indigenous communities.
We've had some requests for this. So apart from everything else you'll be getting this year, I had a discussion with the president earlier today. So each of these villages will get $3 million to assist people for housing upgrades so that they would be managed by the village councils. So people need help, they will get the help.
In addition, he said the government will be distributing $1 million each year for sporting facilities, allowing villages to develop their sports ground. The Vice President also assured indigenous communities that the money they get from the sale of carbon credits will remain untouched, as the government will still maintain their public infrastructure.
So far, the first year was $22.7 million US. The second year was $23.27 million US. And this year, it will also, although we have received less this year, we've kept the $23.27 million to be given to the communities. So in the first year, it was 15% as we agreed, 15%. In the second year, it was 26% last year because we received less for that year. And this year, it's over 21%, nearly 22% of the resources that you are getting. Because we did not want, because of lower receipts this year, to change the allocation to the villages.
Nor do these investments include US $50 million in solar farms being built or the US $2 million per month the government is investing in upkeeping the internet hubs throughout the hinterland. Additionally, US $124 million is being invested in hinterland healthcare, specifically the construction of 3 hinterland hospitals.
We expanded healthcare enormously, but right now we just awarded 3, and we're going to award a 4th contract in the hinterland. In Cato, a hospital for $27 million US. In Moruca, one for $21 million. And in Letem, there is $31 million US. And when you add the $15 million to equip the hospital, each of these hospitals, another $15 million US, it's $124 million US that we're going to be spending in just 3 hospitals I'm talking about.
Kelroy Williams, The Evening News.
Vice President Dr. Parag has also announced that the government is contemplating investing in a commercial arm of the Guyana Defense Force in order to compete with domestic airlines that continue to exploit consumers. Jagdeo made the revelation on Tuesday during the National TOSHAOS Council Conference 2025. Let's have a look.
Every time, it seems as though before every NTC, these aircraft operators raise the rate. It seems like they just wait before the NTC to raise the rates again. So we've had some discussions with them, and if they can't be reasonable about these rates, then the government will invest in a commercial arm of the GDF to compete with them so that we can keep these the freight rates down. In fact, we may very well buy 4 more of the aircrafts that we've just bought to do that in the next term in office. They complained, they said to us, well, it's not them. It is the middlemen. Some of these big businesses buy out, they charter the airline, and then they sell a higher rate, they charge a higher freight to other people. This is for some of the communities, particularly that fly goods in, not like Letem so much, Region 9, where a lot of the goods go by transit land. So I want to discuss this afternoon with the TOSHAOS whether some of the villages can charter the plane too. Instead of the private businessman chartering it, they said they expressed a desire to do that, charter the plane and then arrange for the people who are using it in the villages to get the lower freight rate. We'll discuss that this afternoon. That's one thing, that's a big concern of ours, because we on the coast, we've sought to tackle cost of living by subsidizing electricity and water and transportation now. So every gallon of gas you buy in Guyana or diesel, there's a $500 to $600 Guyana subsidy for the gas because we wanted to keep the price down. But in the hinterland, the biggest concern has been the cost of transit, moving people and goods into some communities. So we plan to also upgrade and expand a lot of these airstrips so that bigger aircrafts can go, and then especially in areas they can't go. And then if you have another service, we're going to operate a government-owned service if we can't solve this problem of the gouging, which we believe is a gouging of the market.
Minister of Local Government and Regional Development Sonia Parag took the witness stand today as the second person to testify in the high-profile trial surrounding allegations of electoral fraud during Guyana's 2020 general and regional elections. In this Luanda McAllister report, we hear that her account described a chaotic and unlawful tabulation process for Region 4.
Minister of Local Government and Regional Development Sonia Parag, who was a PPP agent during the 2020 elections, was back in the spotlight on Tuesday at the Georgetown Magistrates Courts before Principal Magistrate Faith Magusti as the second witness in the ongoing election fraud case that stems from the controversial 2020 general and regional elections. Her testimony recounted scenes of chaos, disorder, and what she described as blatant attempts to derail the democratic process during the vote tabulation in District 4 at the Ashmans building in Georgetown, which served as a command center for the Guyana Elections Commission. But before Parag's testimony, the first witness, Rosalinda Rosal, head of the diaspora unit at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, who served as a local observer during the March 2020 elections, was re-examined by the prosecution. Meanwhile, during her time on the stand, Parag told the court that on March 5, 2020, she was present at the Ashmans building where she was assigned to verify statements of polls for the PPC. She said the tabulation process, which had previously been halted on March 3 due to the fatigue complaints by returning officer Claremont Mingo, controversially resumed that day. According to Parag, Mingo entered the room and announced he was ready to make the declaration, even though the vote count was not complete. The announcement sparked loud uproar from observers and party representatives who objected strenuously. Parag said she stood up and told Mingo, "You can't do this. The count for Region 4 is not completed," as the room descended into shouting and confusion. She testified that Mingo's voice was barely audible amid the noise and that shortly after, he went up an escalator, disappearing from sight. Later, Parag said she saw him on a third-floor balcony, apparently reading from a document. As soon as that happened, she heard people shouting, "Thief, thief, thief," from the ground floor. Parag said she saw senior APNU-AFC official Valdo Lawrence heading up the escalator towards Mingo. She described the mood in the building as tense and hostile, with people shouting and an aggressive exchange of words taking place between Lawrence and others on the ground. Later that day, Parag said she discovered that a Form 24 had been published on the GCOM website listing the declared results for District 4. She noted that it bore 2 signatures and claimed it was published even though a full and lawful count had not taken place. A fixed date application was immediately filed in the High Court in an effort to block any further declarations until all votes were properly tabulated. However, according to Parag, the attempts to bypass procedure continued. She told the court that the tabulation process was moved to GCOM headquarters in Kingston, where figures were being projected on a bed sheet. Parag said objections continued from party representatives and observers alike, but the process was pushed forward despite concerns, and another declaration was made. Parag's testimony concluded with her recounting her participation in a national recount that followed. That recount was triggered by widespread objection and legal action after the event she described. 9 individuals are currently before the court, including former Government Minister Walter Lawrence, former GCOM Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowingfield, returning officer Claremont Mingo, and other former senior GCOM staff. They are all facing conspiracy charges related to attempts to declare a false account of the votes cast during the 2020 elections. More witnesses are expected to take the stand in the coming days as this landmark trial continues. Reporting for the Evening News, Lawanda McAllister.
The government of Guyana is exploring the expansion of Section C of the East Bank Demerara Road Improvement Project to 4 lanes, with the state prepared to fund 2 additional lanes beyond the current contract scope funded by the Inter-American Development Bank. Trishel Sobers reports that the announcement came during a major stakeholder consultation hosted recently by the Ministry of Public Works in collaboration with Shiledia Associates Incorporated and China Road and Bridge Corporation.
Section C of the East Bank Demerara Road Improvement Project spans from the Suicide Junction to the Tamiri Junction. As stipulated through a contractual agreement, the Inter-American Development Bank IDB will fund 2 lanes of the expanded road, while the government of Guyana will fund an additional 2 lanes should the administration go ahead with a revised design of the project. This is according to Public Works Minister Juan Edgel, who recently explained the government's intent to modernize the pertinent piece of infrastructure.
The Chinese contractors and the consultants, based upon the current design, will proceed in keeping with that. When the government of Guyana, and I hope we can make that decision sooner rather than later, because the IDB is funding 2 lanes upgrade for the Chinese contractors. If we are going for 4 lanes, the government of Guyana will have to fund the 2 additional lanes. But there are things that has to be done even without the government of Guyana intervening to make it 4 lanes. We have to relocate utilities. GWI, GPL, and the other utility providers.
To achieve this, however, the government will need to clear 248 encumbrances, including fences, vending stalls, and 12 residential structures that currently occupy the 80-foot government reserve required for the expansion.
In that 248 encumbrances, while I said the majority are fences and vending stalls and the rest of it, 12 are actual houses. But like you would know, wherever the government of Guyana is engaging to bring improvements, modernization, and transformation, wherever we have to acquire property, it is being done in consultation with notice, following the law and the Constitution, to ensure that if we have to acquire, people get fair market value and they're adequately relocated.
The East Bank Demerara Road Improvement Project was awarded to China Road and Bridge Corporation CRBC to the tune of US $75.8 million. A notable feature of the project is the integration with the Suzuki-Linden Highway through the construction of a roundabout designed to facilitate smoother traffic transitions. The road project also boasts enhanced security features such as sidewalks and cycle lanes to cater to vulnerable road users, including pedestrians and cyclists. TOSHAOS Sobers, Evening News.
Coming up, a man dies in jet ski accident at Splashman's Resort and motorcyclist killed in Charity Road accident. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
The moment is coming. He has the ball. Will he make the shot? And he made it! Goal! This is the biggest win we've seen in ages. Feel the rush with every bet and win big. Play online at www.ibetgamesui.com.
With iBet Supreme, every game is your game. iBet to win with iBet Supreme.
Must be 18 years and older to bet.
Exciting news, Barbies! The Woodlands Palmyra Clinic is officially open and ready to serve you with quality healthcare. Located between the Barbies Bridge Road and GUYANA'S Station, the Palmyra Clinic brings trusted care closer to home. Our introductory services include a fully stocked pharmacy, lab tests, pathology, ECG, doctor consultations, and urgent care all under one roof. And here's something extra. Bring your government's universal healthcare voucher or cervical cancer screening voucher and get a free consultation with a doctor. We're open Mondays to Fridays from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Your one-stop health hub for pharmacy needs, lab work, and general consultations. Woodlands Palmyra Clinic, quality healthcare at an affordable cost. Visit.
The Ministry of Education wishes to announce that the Because We Care Cash Grant and the Uniform and School Supplies Grant will begin distribution from May 12, 2025. Please note, however, that distribution will begin later in May and in some cases June for certain regions. Therefore, we encourage all parents and guardians to consult the published distribution schedule to confirm when their grant will be available.
So, what's been given this year?
The grant has been increased to $55,000 per child. This includes $50,000 for the Because We Care Cash Grant and $5,000 for the Uniform and School Supplies Grant.
Who qualifies for this grant?
All public and private school learners from nursery year 1 to grade 10 who are registered and attending school are eligible. In grade 11, only students who will register for CAPE grade 12 in September qualify, along with current grade 12 students who will be continuing to grade 13. For children entering nursery this year, they must have been registered by March 28, 2025.
How do I collect the grant?
The parent or assigned guardian of the child can uplift the grant at the child's school. Just make sure to bring a valid form of ID, your national ID card, passport, or driver's license.
What if I don't have any of those IDs?
No worries, your identity can be verified by a senior official in your community, such as the school's principal or village Tushaw.
Suppose I can't go myself to collect it. What then?
You can authorize someone else to collect the grant on your behalf.
What happens if I miss the date?
If you miss the scheduled date at your school, a later collection date will be announced, but this will only happen after the national distribution is completed, so it's best to collect it as scheduled if possible. Got more questions? Check the Ministry of Education's social media pages or contact your child's school for more information. In service to you, because we care.
Did you know
know that local businesses are now providing 100% of several key services to the oil and gas sector? This highlights the significant achievements in local content development. In 2020, only 5% of selected services were provided by Guyanese companies. Presently, that number has reached 100%. Some of the fully Guyanese provided services include scaffolding, transportation and immigration support, with the inclusion of visa applications. The expansion of local capacity has led to increased investments and job creation. Hundreds of companies are benefiting from the oil and gas industry, and so can you. To access opportunities like these in the oil and gas sector, visit the local content secretariat's supplier portal.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. The Mechanism for Disaster Cooperation Exercise 2025 was officially launched at the Pegasus Hotel on Monday. The high-level regional simulation aims to strengthen disaster preparedness across the Americas with a particular focus on large-scale flood emergencies. Michael Henry tells us more.
Mechanism for Disaster Cooperation Exercise, MECODEX, commenced with a significant launch at the Pegasus Hotel in Georgetown on Monday, marking the beginning of a high-level regional simulation designed to enhance flood-related disaster preparedness across the Americas. The MECODEX 2025 is scheduled to run from May 19 to May 22, bringing together disaster response professionals, military representatives, and humanitarian agencies to test and evaluate coordinated response protocols within the context of a realistic large-scale flood scenarios organized in collaboration with the Inter-American Defense Board and Guyana's Civil Defense Commission. During the opening ceremony, Prime Minister Mark Phillips emphasized the importance of unity among member nations in addressing disaster scenarios.
Therefore, for us, MECODEX 2025 serves as an exemplary model of cooperation by uniting member states of the Organization of American States with regional defense and disaster management institutions, as well as humanitarian organizations operating within our region. This collaborative effort is aimed at fostering a robust network characterized by trust and shared responsibility. This initiative not only promotes the exchange of best practices and resources, but also strengthens our preparedness and resilience in the face of potential crises.
The Prime Minister added that Guyana has acknowledged its risks considering the vast impacts of things such as climate change, amongst others. Thus, Guyana must be ready for any unprecedented natural disaster situation.
We as a people recognize that as our economic landscape changes, our risk profile evolves as well, especially considering the unprecedented impacts of climate change. Therefore, the potential for emerging threats from disasters, whether environmental, logistical, or security related, requires us to expand our disaster preparedness thinking. We must be ready not only for natural hazards such as flooding or storms, but also for complex, high-impact emergencies that may arise from industrial activities.
Meanwhile, Flavio de Oliveira Pinto, Director General of the Inter-American Defense Board Secretariat, highlighted some of the aims of the four-day exercise.
The disaster cooperation mechanism aims to optimize the response and management of international resources in the face of natural or man-made disaster, supporting the effort of the affected country. With this activity, we seek to strengthen preparedness, coordination, and the joint response capacity to the major disaster in the hemisphere.
Michael Henry, The Evening News.
As the Health Ministry continues to make high-quality healthcare services more accessible, particularly in hinterland and riverine communities, through its telemedicine initiative, New York State's healthcare provider and private employer Northwell Health has revealed plans to further strengthen this initiative. Kelroy Williams reports.
Telemedicine is a method of two-way, real-time interactive communication between a patient and healthcare provider at different locations. It is supported by audio and video equipment as well as integrated medical devices to evaluate, diagnose, and treat patients remotely. The program was officially launched in Guyana in 2022 and has expanded to 81 telemedicine sites to date. This initiative aims to enhance patient outcomes and emergency response capabilities in underserved communities, particularly those in the hinterland. During a recent edition of the Guyana Dialogue Program, Vice President of the Center of Global Health at Northwell Health, Dr. Eric Choi Pina, delved into how his organization is actively working to improve and modernize the country's healthcare system. The Vice President highlighted one project which his organization is planning to execute in collaboration with the Health Ministry that will see the already existing telemedicine network being significantly improved.
What we've been thinking about for this is how do we create kind of a more robust telemedicine service. We want to take what the ministry's done and kind of amplify it, make it bigger. We want to make it more like there's a, we think about an acute care command center. So we want, and the ministry's already kind of heading this way in terms of they've allocated space and they want to build a command center, but we want to integrate telemedicine into that command center.
According to Dr. Choi Pina, this system would not only help patients by giving them immediate solutions, but will also help the ministry to save resources by eliminating unnecessary medical evacuations.
Because sometimes you call for a patient transfer from Lethem, for instance, and the real answer is you don't need the patient to move. You just need someone who's a specialist to give an opinion about that patient and help manage that patient remotely. And so we want the people to determine whether you get medevaced or whether there's a telemedicine solution to be the same people and to be working in the same command center so that if the care can be delivered immediately where the patient lives, we do that.
Moreover, as the government works assiduously to digitize its services, the Vice President also highlighted the important role AI can play within the medical community.
AI has the potential to make nurses and doctors not only more efficient. All the administrators talk about efficiency. It will actually bring the joy of being in medicine back to medicine, because the things that we don't like about medicine, AI can fix. The needing to spend time, they're rolling out an EMR, but needing to spend time documenting what you've done for a patient instead of spending time with the patient. Decision tools that'll help doctors and nurses provide better care, capture data, all of those things that right now are being done manually by people. We don't have enough people in healthcare.
Kelroy Williams, The Evening News.
In observance of World Metrology Day, the Guyana National Bureau of Standards hosted a free training exercise for over 70 students from TVET institutes across the country. Michael Henry was there and filed this report.
In observance of World Metrology Day on Tuesday, several technical students from across the country gathered at the Guyana National Bureau of Standards Georgetown headquarters for a training session. This year's World Metrology Day is themed Measurements for All Times for All Peoples. At the training session, the head of corporate communications for GNBS, Lloyd David, emphasized that technical students, upon leaving school, must be able to measure correctly.
It's very important to you because eventually you will, on a day-to-day basis at your school, you are involved in measurements in some way or the other, whether if you're doing plumbing, woodworking, electrical, all of that requires measurement. So it is very important. And what we want you to do when you leave the technical institutes and you go out to work, you must be able to measure correctly. You must be able to satisfy your consumers, your customers, because satisfying consumers and customers is very important. That's how you get to your work, more and more work from your various stakeholders. You don't want to shortchange them in terms of measurements. You don't want to do measurements incorrectly and cause defects and problems in the work that you do for your various clientele.
Meanwhile, head of metrology at GNBS, Shailendra Rai, underscored to the students the importance of the metric system in Guyana.
Similarly, with the transport and harbors, the harbor bridge, they normally weigh the trucks and so before they cross because there's a weight limitation that goes with it. As it relates to the health sector, that is very important as well. When we go to the doctor, they would check our body mass, they would check your pressure, and then based on that, they would make certain diagnosis, and then they give you treatment. So you think about it, if those instruments are weighing inaccurate and you get an inaccurate weight or an inaccurate pressure reading, what would happen? Right? You would end up with the wrong medication and so forth. So metrology is very important.
Celebrated each year on May 20, World Metrology Day highlights the vital role of measurement science in daily lives. From GPS navigation to medical doses and construction safety, metrology ensures consistency and reliability worldwide. Michael Henry, The Evening News.
Children from Region 6 were recently exposed to fire prevention practices during a visit to the New Amsterdam Fire Department. Our Berbice correspondent Andrew Carmichael has this story.
The guns on the station go bling-a-ling-a-ling, bling-a-ling-a-ling, bling-a-ling-a-ling. The guns on the station go bling-a-ling-a-ling, bling-a-ling-a-ling.
Children at the New Amsterdam Fire Department on Sunday.
So today what we have some students from the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and they're from the Sanford Seventh-day Adventist Church. And they took the opportunity to visit the fire station. So that's what's happening here today.
That was a station officer with the Guyana Fire Service in New Amsterdam, Shannon Crawford. With the age ranging from 5 years to 13, the focus of the exercise was to educate them on firefighting and safety practices.
Really hard, okay?
And they were also familiarized with some of the equipment on the fire truck. The tour also gave the children a first-hand look at the operations of firefighters when on a fire scene.
Some tools that we use and have housed on the fire truck. Can anyone tell me what it is? Alright, this
So that is what it entails, and at the end of the exercise we will give them a small a certificate for the visit to the for all kids camp. We give them a certificate to let them know that we appreciate the visit and that they're there, and something for them to use and to treasure, that as they grow up they can recall that they made a visit to the fire station or they were part of a kids camp. Okay. Also in that period we give them a booklet.
The booklet has do's and don'ts about firefighting and safety. Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
A man has died following a jet ski collision at Splashman's Fun Park and Resort at around 13 hours on Sunday. The deceased has been identified as 58-year-old Joseph Sahadio of 167 Granville Park, BV, East Coast, Demerara. Police say Sahadio was riding one jet ski while his daughter, Padmini Sahadio, and her friend were on another when a collision occurred. He reportedly struck his head and fell into the water. Family members pulled him out and rushed him to the Diamond Diagnostic Center, where he was pronounced dead. Visible injuries were observed to his head and face. His body has been taken to Memorial Gardens Funeral Home pending a post-mortem. Meanwhile, police are investigating a fatal accident that occurred around 14 hours 25 on Monday along the Charity Public Road, resulting in the death of 30-year-old motorcyclist Troy Singh. The accident involved the Singh's motorcycle CM6673 and a motor lorry GDD 5397 driven by a 47-year-old man from Charity Housing Scheme. According to the lorry driver, he was heading west and turning right when Singh, traveling east at a high speed, lost control and skidded into the path of the lorry, colliding with its front. Singh was taken to the Charity Cottage Public Hospital in an unconscious state and was pronounced dead. The lorry driver was arrested and is assisting police with the ongoing investigation. And now for a look at the bridge reports.
There will be no retraction of the Demerara Harbour Bridge on Wednesday, May 21, 2025. Meanwhile, the Barbados River Bridge is scheduled to be closed to vehicular traffic at 11:05 on Wednesday, May 21, 2025, for a period of 1.5 hours.
ExxonMobil GSL tickets on sale next week, entertainment boost expected, and Dietz optimistic ahead of England T20s. These stories and more coming up in this evening's Sportcast, sponsored by MacCorp.
Hi, I'm Timothy Ramjan, and this is MacCorp Rental. We have the right equipment and generator for your coming project. Call me on 698-8116. MacCorp, let's do the work.
Did you know GUYANA'S Super 95 gasoline has an octane rating of 95, the highest rating available in Guyana? This premium fuel is known to enhance the performance of your engine, making it run smoother and more efficiently, leading to better fuel economy and improved performance. Choose Super 95 for more mileage and better overall performance.
Attention builders and DIY pros. Transform your projects and upgrade your toolkit with Stanley. Start with precision cuts using the circular saw. Tackle tough jobs with the hammer drill. Achieve clean finishes with the tile cutter. Make angled cuts with the miter saw. Power through with the chop saw. And sharpen your skill with the bench grinder. Don't wait. Visit sylviesonline.com or stop by 31 High and Hatfield Streets or Lot 90 East Henrietta, Essequibo Coast to grab yours today. Upgrade your tools. Upgrade your results.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.